American Country Essentials. Today I'm in my barn and I'm going to teach you how to make birthing pins. As you saw in a video or two ago, we exposed our does to our buck, and so we should be expecting our kids to come in the next month or two, so we want to make sure we have plenty of time to prepare and have a safe environment for the kids to be in out of the elements. So that's what we're doing today. So all you need is 4 components for a birthing pin. The first one is some sort of enclosed shelter. We get the bigger ones. This is basically a dog kennel, if you will. But we get the bigger ones because goats can have anywhere from 1 to 4 babies. So you have to make sure you can have plenty of space for if there are numerous babies, then they can all go into one. The other thing is that you need a T-post driver, T-post, and then cattle panel. The T-posts act as the framing for the actual birthing pin. The cattle panel obviously equals the walls. And then the T-post driver is what actually puts a T-post into the ground so it's nice and secure for the actual birthing pin. The reason that you want to have birthing pins, especially for goats, is twofold. Number one, it's a safety issue. In Colorado, we have really unpredictable weather. So even though we plan for them to be born in the spring, we can still get snow. The wind is really bad. So we want to make sure that they're inside, away from the elements, because they are very, very small when they're born and they can get hypothermia really easily. The second thing is also for bonding. Okay, each mama is going to have her own little suite, and so they will have their own special bonding time with all of her kids, and we can also keep tabs on the individual kids, who's nursing, who's not, if there's any sickness. They're all separated. At about 3-4 weeks, we'll let the mamas out and have mommy time, where basically we let them out for a few hours so mommies can kind of get away from the babies, because they are really needy. They're constantly wanting to nurse, and the moms need a little bit of a break. I get it. And then the kids stay in the barn, and they're actually able to play with each other. They learn their new herd, but they're in the barn, so it's nice and safe for them. Okay, so there's no exact science on how you build these birthing suites, but this is a space that we allocated for the birthing suites for our girls. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure this off, see how big it is, and then divide it by 3 because we have 3 does. And then each one is going to get a little birthing suite. It's important to remember that this doesn't need to be huge. It's just big enough for the does and their kids to just bond and nurse. They're not going to be running around or anything along those lines. So I'm going to have my trusty assistant Mark help me out with this. Okay, so this is about 20 feet, and 20 divided by 3, again 3 does, is about 6.5 feet. So each one is going to be about 6.5 feet wide. So here at the ranch, we try not to throw anything away and reuse material. So for our birthing suites, we're going to be using cattle panel that we have stored in another pasture, which is pretty far away. So I'm going to use a tractor to go get those guys.
I love driving the tractor. When we first bought it, I made a deal with my husband that he had to teach me how to use it because I didn't want to get chauffeured all around. And I'm pretty sure I actually use it more than he does. We also pride ourselves on keeping a really clean ranch. If we don't have immediate plans or a use for it, we store it away. We also keep everything off of the ground because we do get weather. We don't want it to rust.
Okay, so we brought in all the material and we kind of have everything laid out. So we decided on the length that we're going to do 12 feet in length, mostly because we found 2 cattle panels that were already cut to 12 feet. So instead of cutting a brand new piece, we're just going to go ahead and use what we have. We like recycling, as I said before. And then we put our T-posts at approximately the place that they're going to go. So this is about 6 feet. And we're going to put a T-post in the middle of the 12-foot length and then also at the end. And then we're going to tie into those T-posts at the front, the middle, and the end. Now, it doesn't have to be as strong as Fort Knox, but it does have to withstand goats, and goats will rub, they'll jump, especially when there's a lot of kids around. It's going to be exciting for them, and so they try and push up against it. So you really want to make sure that it's as strong as possible. Okay, so as far as size, and we're doing 6 by 12, but you can do it however you want. We're making this up. This is what worked for us 2 years ago, so we're going to go with what worked for us. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You always want to go a little bit bigger. You're never going to have a goat look at you and say, no thanks, but this is too much space for me. But it could possibly be too small. So you always want to, if you can go a little bit bigger, go a little bit bigger. Cattle paddle is extremely easy to work with, but it's really tough. So we have to cut one more piece of cattle panel for one more 12-foot wall. So we're going to be using just regular, we use bolt cutters.
This is where the labor-intensive part comes in. This project is doable with one person, but it sure helps to have a second set of hands, especially when you're pregnant. Don't stress if your T-posts are not straight or your spacing is off. I promise the goats won't judge you.
Now that we have the T-posts up, now it's time to install the cattle panel. Cattle panel is pretty easy to clip onto the T-posts. You have to use something called fence clips. Usually most companies will give this to you for free as long as you buy the T-post from them. There's several ways to put these on. There's tools and everything for it, but I like using needle nose pliers, and this is what works best for me.
Clipping the cattle panels to the T-post is a little monotonous, but it is really important. We only use 3 clips per T-post, but if you want to use more than that, go right ahead.
We have all of our walls up on each one of our birthing suites, and now comes the most important part, the doors for us to get in and out. So what we're going to be doing is just cutting out spaces in each one of the birthing suites in order for us to go in and out. Now, one mistake we made last year, or 2 years ago when we did this, was we cut on the cattle panel and then we did not grind it down. So there were little pieces of cattle panel sticking out on each one of these little squares. So every time we went in, we'd catch ourselves, the goats would catch themselves and get cut and everything. So this year what we're going to do is we're going to cut the doors out, and then we're going to take a grinder and grind it down so then it's nice and smooth, and so we can go in and out of the suites without getting caught on anything. So we can feed them, change out their bedding, change out water, things along those lines. So that's what we're going to do next.
While cutting cattle panel, it is really helpful to have someone hold it for you.
Okay, so now that we have all of the doors cut out, I want you guys to notice that we left this bottom part intact for structural integrity. It's really important when you're working with cattle panel to try and keep the piece as whole as possible. So that's why we left the bottom part of the doors kind of elevated so it would be more structurally sound. Well, goats will have to step over it, but we go in and out of these, so, and we're opening the doors constantly, so you don't want it all flimsy and things along those lines. And then I want you guys to notice, this is after we clipped out the doors, these sharp edges, that's what I was talking about before. When you're going in and out, you'll catch your clothes, you'll catch your jackets, you'll catch your skin, and they cut. He'll cut the goats too when they come in and out. And we're constantly going in and out, especially when the kids are first born, because I like to have a lot of contact with the kids. That way they're friendly and they get used to me and they're not afraid of me or anything along those lines. So my husband is going to grind each one of these down, and then that way it's nice and smooth and we don't have to worry about catching on it. So that's what we're going to do next.
Yeah, he should definitely be wearing a face shield, and why he's not will be a discussion.
The grinding is done, and you can just notice a difference. You know, there's usually about 1/4 to 1/2 inch sticking out, and now it's all nice and flush with this piece, so we won't have to really worry about going in and out and getting caught on it. So now that the doors are hung, I just want to show you how we're kind of keeping them all together. So these little rings are what we're using for our hinges. We just put one at the top and one at the bottom. And then this is our high-tech locking system with carabiners. The reason we went with carabiners is that they're easy to use, quick. You know, when the goats are hungry, you want to get in and out pretty quickly. Now, mind you, we put the doors on the inside of the birthing suites, because when we did this 2 years ago, we actually had them on the outside, and every time we would come in with food or water, or they would see us in general, they would push up against this, and it got to the point where they were able to bend a little space. Even with a locking on the bottom, they were able to bend a little space, so then all of a sudden I'd come into the barn and there were goats running around. So this year we wanted to put it on the inside, so then when it opens into the birthing suite, they won't be able to push against it. It adds more stability, and plus keeping this intact at the bottom adds even more stability as well. The birthing suites are finally finished, and I just kind of want to show you how we stock the inside of our birthing suites. So like I said before, we always put like an igloo or some sort of shelter. These are dog houses. After the igloo, we also put little containers in here, and I fill this with baking soda. This helps with their digestion, so they'll have free range. We always put a cinder block in here. This is just to help when the kids are younger. They like to jump on things. It helps harden up their hooves. They'll jump on their houses, so we try and give them some stimulation in here because they are hyper and then they go to sleep. And then I also put a couple buckets in here. One will be full of hay and grain for mama, and then the kids will learn how to eat out of those as well, and then one will be for clean water. One thing you don't see in here is a mineral block, which we'll put in closer to actually when we actually move in the mamas. So they'll have 24-hour access to mineral and salt. And then also we put bedding down. This helps with cleanup, and it'll get changed every single day. And we also put straw and everything inside the houses for the kids as well. All of the material that you see we had laying around the ranch. So this didn't cost us anything to put these together. You can buy prefabricated birthing suites, and it's going to run you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. To be honest, the goats could care less as long as they're well taken care of, they have food, and their birthing units are clean. That's all they really care about. So you can build them as you see fit, but this is how we do it. This is how it worked a couple years ago. So again, like I said, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Thank you so much for watching how to build birthing suites the easy way. But visit my site, which is going to be linked below, to see more information on our ranch and our animals. And then stay tuned as we are getting ready and anticipating the arrival of our kids. I can't wait to introduce you to them. So stay tuned. Birthing pins. She's making it all dusty and bare.
If you like this video and want to see more, please subscribe to my channel and like and share this video. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook as well. For homemade products made at this ranch, visit AmericanCountryEssentials.com, which is linked below.